migrant worker who was involved in a financial dispute with his family has gone on a stabbing spree in Sichuan province, killing 4 people and injuring 11.
The attack in Chengdu began on a bus and continued when the man got off until he was shot and wounded by police. ATV's Bolong reports.
The stabbing rampage began last night when a 41-year-old man got on a bus in Chengdu, capital of Sichuan province. He pulled out a knife and began stabbing passengers. Soon after, he got off the bus but continued to attack people on the streets. He was stopped when police opened fire and wounded him. Officers accused the man of killing 4 people and injuring 11 others, including a 10-year-old girl. The suspect told police that he was a migrant worker from another part of Sichuan and had financial disputes with family members. He arrived in Chengdu the day before the attack, the latest in a spate of stabbing sprees on the mainland this year. Last month, a man stabbed 3 people to death and injured 5 others in a knife attack in Shenzhen. A week earlier, a man armed with a knife stormed a birth control office in Guangxi, killing 2 officials and wounding 4 people after a row over his offspring. That attack occurred one day after a man in Beijing stabbed a woman to death and injured 3 people in a supermarket. Bolong, ATV News.
It's been revealed that US whistleblower Edward Snowden had contacted Russian officials in Hong Kong before leaving for Moscow. The Kommersant newspaper reported that the former CIA intelligence analyst stayed at the Russian consulate here for 2 days and then flew to the Russian capital in June. Snowden, who is wanted in the US for leaking details about a top-secret surveillance program, turned up at the consulate uninvited and said he wanted to go to Cuba from Moscow. But the Russian daily said Washington pressured Havana not to accept him. Snowden has been granted temporary asylum in Russia.
More local news. The rural group Hung Ye Kuk has applied for a judicial review after the government included Sai Wan village in the Sai Kung East Country Park.
And residents in To Kwa Wan have urged the Urban Renewal Authority to give them priority in redevelopment. Bolong has more.
Around 40 residents from To Kwa Wan protested outside the Urban Renewal Authority's headquarters in Shenzhen to demand that the redevelopment of their neighbourhood be given top priority. Their call comes days before a building in their area is closed on Friday because the government wants to demolish dangerous illegal structures. The protesters said most buildings in their neighbourhood are more than 50 years old and they want the area redeveloped.
For the past few years, we have been spending money to renovate the apartments, and we have spent a lot of money, but eventually the building is not suitable for people to live in there.
The URA said it has been meeting residents to listen to their demands. A man has been tested negative for Middle East respiratory syndrome. The 20-year-old was admitted to Queen Mary Hospital yesterday after stopping over in Qatar while returning to Hong Kong from Britain. No human cases of the virus has been detected in Hong Kong so far. The powerful rural group, the Hung Ye Kuk, has applied for a judicial review against government plans to include Sai Wan village in the Sai Kung East Country Park. The Cook said villagers will be inconvenienced if their homes become part of the park because they will not be able to develop the area the way they want. The group said they were not consulted on compensation or alternative land sites. Bolong, ATV News.
At least 6 people were killed when a cargo train nicknamed the Beast derailed in southern Mexico.
But first in our world wrap, after 50 people lost their lives in one of the worst days of violence in Iraq.
Debris littered a street in Baghdad where a car packed with explosives blew up, killing 3 people and injuring 4. The blast in the Iraqi capital was one of several that claimed dozens of lives across the country. There were also a number of shootings that killed or wounded many people. The violence raised fears that Iraq is heading towards another massive sectarian war. According to the UN, more than 1,000 Iraqis were killed in violence last month, making July the deadliest month in the country in 5 years. Several people were killed and dozens more injured when a cargo train derailed in southern Mexico. The train, nicknamed the Beast, gained infamy because many Latinos have used it to make the perilous crossing to the US. It's not known how the crash occurred, but officials say it will take time before they manage to lift the 8 carriages that overturned. The injured were rushed to nearby hospitals, while authorities try to confirm if any of the dead were illegal immigrants. Order has been restored in a part of northern Myanmar where Buddhist youths attacked Muslim-owned buildings. Many Muslims who lost their homes in the attack in Saigon district have sought shelter in a school. No casualties were reported, but tensions are running high following the latest incident between members of the religious groups. In the past year, more than 200 people were killed and 140,000 had to flee to escape religious clashes. Most of the victims were Muslims.
Time now for sports with Raymond Young.
So what's been happening in football, Raymond?
Well, Barcelona have continued their unbeaten start in Spain. But there was a big shock in the English Premier League when Manchester